Hey guys, another video for the buying a house in Japan playlist. We had this bit of a ugly scene outside the front of the old farmhouse. This eave here was not really the right material to be used in the first place, I don't think. So the whole eave is actually an add-on. It's not actually the original roof. It's not actually part of the tiled roof. It's just an extension. So obviously they didn't use a very good material there, and it hasn't survived. Bits of it were hanging all over the place when we first came there. We had to pull bits down because they're actually blocking the window with bits hanging off. Also got some posts here that are rusty, metal posts that pretty rusty, that need dealing with. It's a string tied up there, dear oh dear. So into it. It's a bit of a thing. Oh, the front door. Yes, a bit of an issue with the front door too. Front door's made of metal and it's rusty as well. So we have to do something about that. So into it. So yeah, it's a bit of a balancing act, the old house. If we spend too much money on it and decide to sell in the future, we may not get the money back that we spent. So the amount that you put into renovating it may not increase the value by the same amount. And the reason is that most Japanese people aren't really into old houses. And even though in some countries buying an old house and renovating it can increase its value by more than the amount that you put into it, it's easy in Japan to overcapitalize on an old house and spend a lot of money renovating it, and then people come along and still don't want to live in it because it's an old house and they just want to knock it down and build a new one. So you have to be careful. If you spend the right amount, spend a minimum amount and do a good job and make the place more livable, it will increase the value, of course, and it will make it a good investment as well. But you just have to be careful. It's just, compared to other countries, it's really easy to overcapitalize. So with that in mind, I think probably if this was in Australia, this place, that whole extension there would be pulled down and we'd build a new one. I think would be probably the way to go. But in Japan, it's probably not worth it. That's a pretty long piece of construction there. That's a pretty big piece of construction. If that was totally torn down and replaced, it'd cost a fair bit of money to get rid of all the bits that you're tearing down, and then a fair bit to replace it with a new one. It probably wouldn't be worth it. So yeah, it's a bit of a balancing act. The whole house has been like this. We have to be very careful not to spend too much, but we want to make it nice to live in and make it a better investment. So if we do decide to sell it, that it'll be more appealing to people than it was. So it's a balancing act. It's a balancing act. We don't want to spend too much, but we have to spend a bit and put a bit of time into it to make it more pleasant to live in and a better investment. So the solution with this, we decided, was to remove the eave, because the eave is ugly, and that timber underneath is actually quite nice. So we decided that it looks better. The bare timber looks better than the disgusting old falling down eave underneath there. So it had to be pulled down. It was full of dust, as you as you can see, full of dust. It was absolutely disgusting. And yeah, the biggest problem was the mess afterwards, cleaning all that up and then taking that off to the clean centre, off to the city dump, city clean centre they call it. And then had to repair the light, or replace the light, move the light, relocate the light. There we go, I found the word, relocate the light. Again, Japanese wiring, it was just sort of strung across, so I neatened it up. Did a neat cabling job. There's something we don't see in Japan. Oh, I shouldn't keep talking about that, but it's just the way it is. It's just the truth. The wonders of the battery drill. Must be the best tool ever invented, the battery drill, I'm sure of it. Okay, fabulous. There we go. Done. Next. Oh, and then these posts again. With the posts, I think in Australia we'd probably replace them, or maybe in lots of other countries I'd probably think about replacing them. But again, spending the money here is probably a bit of a waste of time. So decided to just grind them off, take the rust off them, and hit them with some rust converting paint. Seems to be a more sensible way to go. It'd be wonderful if renovations actually happened as fast as they do in these videos. This is a 9-minute video for this whole job. It'd be fantastic if it happened this fast. Vroom, 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 finish, next. Oh, if only it did. The actual time spent on this job was 2 or 3 days, I guess, in total. A couple of hard days and then a couple of short days, so yeah, 2 or 3 days. So then the door, yeah, these stickers, the damn stickers are all different organisations give you stickers to put on your doors to, I don't know why. There's the annoying NHK sticker to show that you've paid your NHK dues for the television and donated to these charities, and yeah, so they had to go. Scraping and scratching and washing to get rid of all the stickers, and then hit the door with the big grinder, because it's actually a metal door that was covered in rust. So just ground the rough bits off. We knew we weren't going to make this perfect. The only way to make it perfect is take the whole thing back to metal, and that's just ridiculous. That's just too much. You can't. It's an old house, so you can't make the old house like new. It's just not realistic. And in actual fact, if you make something like the door, make it look like brand new, it makes everything else look old and crappy. So you've got to remember, we've got to remember that it's an old house, old farmhouse style building, and we're doing a sort of a simple renovation on it. So it's not going to be perfect. It's just going to be a simple renovation. So here we are up to the before and after already. So here's the before again. This is what it looked like before. So yeah, just get trying to keep it simple, trying to make it nice to live in, but it's not going to be perfect. We look at these things when we finish these little projects and look at them. We can see there's imperfections, of course. It's not new. It's still not going to be a new building, but as long as it's better than it was, as long as it's clean and tidy, and we're not going to have to redo it. I try and do all this stuff so that it stays done, so we don't have to do it all again, in 5 years' time. So we try to do a good job. But yeah, just sort of rustic, I think, is a good word for an old house like this. Keep it rustic, see? It's rustic. And again, I think the exposed timber sort of fits in with the style. You probably couldn't get away with that in a new house. But the rest of the house, around the house, is exposed timber. So, to keep it in style all the way around the house is that same exposed timber style. So it sort of fits, as you can see. And then the old door, the old wood, that crappy old tree thing that he used as a post there. Dear oh dear. But anyway, a little bit of paint and a little bit of work, and there we go. It's looking a little bit better. No rust. Rust's gone anyway. So that's an improvement. Move on to the next job now. More videos coming soon.